Friends, for the people who came in lately, we started some time back, around 15 minutes back. Very quickly, I'll summarize. Sripriya, sort of Central Council member from Chennai, she gave the statistics of India. I recognize the presence of Central Council member Rajendra Kumar from Chennai and Pramod Jain from Delhi. Sir, welcome to the session. I requested Sripriya to repeat what she said, but she's saying no and thanks, Sripriya, but I'll repeat because there are more number of people who came in later rather than those who are sitting. So those who are sitting, please pardon my repetition. What Sripriya mentioned, friends, is today we are talking of collaboration and networking, building global firms and making India as a global accounting hub. And under the theme of our conference, connecting the globe, creating value. But she brought stark reality, the statistics of our firms in India. What is the revenue? She mentioned that there are roughly about 35,000 firms who applied for MEF, and most of the people here had done. And the total revenue which they have declared is something like 15,000 crore, which so average comes to something like 40 lakhs for the firm. And assuming two partners, 77,000 members, so roughly 20 lakhs revenue per chartered accountant for those who apply for MEF, which, please pardon my words, is shameful. We need to get better. So when we talk of building global firms, making India the global accounting hub, we can't do that unless we make ourselves stronger here. Our practice in India is predominantly single member, 2 member, 3 member, 4 member firm. Unless we are going to have larger practices, forget the global opportunity. What I mentioned, even at the sake of repetition, India, the GDP in 58 years, we reach 1 trillion. Another 7 years, we touch 2 trillion. Another 7 years, 3 trillion. And now we are going to add 1 trillion in 3 years. Later, another trillion in 2.5 or 3 years. And going forward, after a few years, it will be 18 months, we'll be adding 1 trillion. That's where Piyush Goyal said by 2047, we may be a 30 trillion economy. Possible. So forget the global opportunity. Are we going to be, the way we are organized as 2 member, 3 member, 4 member, are we going to capture the India opportunity? In my view, no. If we are going to go in the same manner. So the time has come to change. And time is now. And if you're, there's nothing wrong in being a sole proprietor firm 2 member, but then you don't think of growth aspirations. If some of our clients grow big and they go to a larger firm, please don't be disappointed if you're going to remain small. Unless you grow, only then the client is going to stay with you. So please be careful. So next 2 decades are going to be India's decade. As was said, vocal for local and local for global. That's our way forward. And this marks the beginning of building global firms. This is a great opportunity. We'll be able to build Indian firms, large firms with the opportunity coming up in India. And that will be a base for making the global firms. I'm here to delve into dynamic realms of collaboration, networking, and the pivotal role they play in transforming India into a global accounting hub while fostering the growth of international enterprises. In an interconnected world where boundaries are blurred, the power of collaboration and networking cannot be understated. Friends, I'll not get into the definition of collaboration, but I'll just say 4 things which are key for collaboration, or key elements. Communication. Now, believe me, we as a firm network with the international network for 25 years, we sort of quit them in 21 for some other reasons. Communication is key. And which I find very lacking in our Indian, I would say generally as Indians. I recognize the presence of Dheeraj Khandelwalji, a very dynamic Central Council member from Mumbai. And international networking requires at least a 24-hour communication that you received a mail. You may take 7 days to work on it if it's complicated, maybe 15 days. But communication is key. You cannot be silent. You need to communicate. Even the fact that you may do it later, but communication is key. Second, mutual respect, respect of culture, respect of different tradition, shared goals, and flexibility. You cannot be rigid. If you want to collaborate, give and take, like the husband-wife team in the family, brothers, sisters, we have give and take. Same thing we need in the collaboration also. Again, I will not go into the definition of networking. What are the key elements of networking? Building relationships, maintaining it, reciprocity, information exchange, and diversity. So when this topic came to me, I thought, what are the ways in which we can become global firms? Because I will speak less on the accounting. We've got experts here, Karthik and Arunji. But since I come from a practicing background, I thought, how do we make, So one is our Honorable Prime Minister's vision for large Indian firms to hit the globe, among the top 8. Is it possible today? My answer is no. But yeah, we have got exceptions like Vaibhav's firm, which has got international offices. Today morning, I met Narasimhan Ilangon, our person who speaks on technology, a member from Bangalore. He set up an office in US and will understand more. But whatever little knowledge I know of regulations, whether an Indian CA practicing CA can practice equally in US? No, unless he has got a US CPA, he's got a local, experience. He's worked in a CPA firm there, or in UK, there is reciprocity for membership. You may give 1 or 2 exams and become a member there. But for practice, again, you have to do articleship again there. So one request to the Institute, Sripriya, through you, is we need to keep on pushing. It's an evolution. How do we break this, how can we directly practice there? Maybe in the UK, US, maybe the English-speaking nation, if not the non-English-speaking nations. So maybe some efforts, or how can we reduce the internship time that if you want to practice? So that is one, request. I'm sure we have a lot of international delegates. They will give more specific. So question is, if I want to make my firm international, so I'm saying, there are a lot of mid-sized and large firms here. Question is, what do you have to offer to a firm based in New York, or in London, or in Africa, or in Europe? So one is, currently the way the networks are, they are large in size. In India, are we large in size? We saw the numbers. Even the large firms, so-called large mid-size firms, are absolutely, like ants in compared to the revenues of, say, the 100th firm of UK or the 100th ranked firm of US. The Indian revenues of the 100th ranked firm of India will be no comparison. Individual firms, forget the networks. Networks talk of billions of dollars. The 10th largest firm, an internet network firm, has got revenues, collective revenues of $4 billion. It's a network, it's all independent firms. So in India, if I want to start that, an international network, what do I have to offer? So one is, of course, size, scale, where I can give them some work. Say, of course, Indian companies are going abroad. The large entities, Tatas, Birlas, Reliance, and all the world. But the problem is, they're going abroad. Here, they may have Indian auditors. I would say purely Indian firms. If they're going abroad, they're the larger international network firm, because that is the name which is recognized there. The Indian brand is not recognized. So that, I think, is a challenge of starting. Second, I can give some skills, in which I believe here we have got the IT skills, in case in our profession, whether it's AI, whether it's blockchain, whether it is cybersecurity or data analytics, if we marry that within our practice and then offer that, that could be attracting some interest from the international listing. So this, but we'll understand more from Vaibhav what they have done, and that will be a roadmap for us to go international. So that is, I'm leaving it at that. Second is, way of growing internationally is, we join international network, already existing international. There are top 50, top 100. And friends believe me, there are 2 types of networks there. One is a network which is part of forum of firm, which have decided that they'll follow the international standards of auditing. And there are associations. Associations have decided that they will not make it compulsory for the member firms to follow the international standards of auditing. So whenever you embark on that, please understand these 2 differences. And there also, Sripriya, I think currently there's a challenge. At the institute level, there's no clarity whether it can become part of an international network. So again, a request, I understand, I've been in touch with the current council also for last 3-4 years. The international networking guidelines are in the works. Only request is, let it be pragmatic, let it be practical. We have seen some of the drafts informally, and which were not practical at all, which is not connected to the ground reality. How the international networks. So for example, it has to be a pure accounting network. I don't think any international network is a pure accounting network. They've got some law firms, they've got some consulting firms, so on and so forth. So there is a need for institute clarity as far as us joining the international networks. So I'll leave it at that, but that is a way forward. So we understand, we sort of dirty our hands. We see how those networks function. We see what they do. And then possibly we can start our own network maybe 5-10 years down the line, once we understand the modus operandi, if I can say so. So that's one route. So 2 routes in my view. There could be other routes, which I'll ask the panelists to share. What are the benefits for global firms? Access to global markets, knowledge and innovation, resource sharing. What happens? See, why when many times we feel some work has gone to a larger firm. Why? Some assignment comes. I have got such and such oil and gas expertise in US, or a renewable sustainability expertise in London or somewhere else. So they can drop names. Not necessarily that those people are going to do the work. The work will be done by Indians. But just the shared resources. Okay, I got some knowledge lying somewhere. So that's the advantage. It mitigates risks. We get a diversification of the clientele. Adaptability, agility, anything new happening in the world, we can adopt it, bring it with agility in India. Networking for market understanding, building global partnership, client acquisition, retention, talent acquisition. In my view, this is very important. Having an international branding or a global firm helps you retain talent in India. Assuming you send them on deputation for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, your talent retention goes up. Of course, the threat is the international firm will ask what is happening in the larger firms. People go abroad, and then the international firms demand those people to be staying back there. So that much is the need. Friends, there's a shortage of 3 lakh accountants in US. And when I was president in Canada, 8,000 shortage every year. In Australia, 6,000 shortage every year of professional accountants. We can easily fill the void, either going there or bringing the work over here. So I think our mind has to be open. What are the challenges for global firms? I mentioned about the regulatory framework. Institute has to work on us joining international guidelines and vice versa, assuming we want to start an international network. How do we, through the institutes, bring down the requirements in the respective countries? Friends, another major problem which Sripriya a little bit touched upon is quality of our work. I have seen, please, again, I'm sharing within our own this thing, our quality needs to improve a lot. With audit quality, the quality may be there, but it's not documented. So documentation needs to improve, especially from the audit side, and whether it's tax, indirect tax. So quality, unless you have that quality, there will be a challenge in your growth. That much I can just share with you. As the large firms, the mid-sized firms currently are literally, struggling how to meet the quality levels expected by the regulators. Not only the Indian regulators, the US PCOB, NFRA, so on and so forth. So I think we need to improve our quality a lot of the documentation. Your audit quality may be good, your work quality, but if it is not documented, if it's going to be only in your head, it's not going to help. It has to be documented well. Another challenge is people aspiration. So all this is coming back to we need to make larger firms in India and improve our quality. I will not go more. We will discuss with the panelists, especially Vaibhav, making how the Indian firms more global. Coming to the globe, India is a global accounting hub. Friends, accounting is one of the sunrise sectors, accounting and financial services, which has been named as one of the 12 champion sectors of the Indian economy by the government. And we are already outsourcing capital of the world. Our account outsourcing includes big bookkeeping, taxation, audit assurance, financial planning analysis, mergers, acquisition, cloud. Everything is being done. Whatever I'm speaking, whether it's in Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Gurgaon, Chennai. Not only large MNCs doing the accounting and other services here. For example, derivative accounting of the large of these investment banks is happening in Mumbai. Accounting and tax in Chennai. Even the larger firms, they have got their own outsourcing outfits all across the country. Karthik represents a mid-sized firm which is doing a lot of work for the global firm, and which you'll understand more from him. Friends, India is the second largest in the world in US after the number of accounting professors. But as was told, we are the largest if we continue students. 4 lakh students 8 lakh students and 4 lakh members. Roughly 12 lakhs are a CA. Company secretary, 70,000. I'm just saying related commerce, and 2.5 lakh students. Cost accounting, again, 70,000 members, and the student number was not very clear. But maybe 8 to 10 lakh students which are available in the pipeline to become, accounting professionals. And BComs, every year, I think we pass out 10 lakh BCom students, commerce graduates. Again, this is the raw material for us to become the accounting hub of the world. We exported, again, the figures of accounting outsourcing is not available in the government record because this gets dovetailed into technology services, outsourcing and all. But from some statistics I got, it is $1.7 billion worth of accounting, auditing, and bookkeeping services. In 21, it was done. Our share in the service export is 4.1% of the world share. It can go up. We are one of the best accounting service providers. Our cost is roughly 40% lower compared to developed countries. But we have competition. We have competition in Philippines mainly, as far as accounting is concerned. Then China is trying to emulate us, Malaysia, Singapore, whose attractiveness in outsourcing is increasing. And India commands premium over other competitors because of the quality, cost saving, highly qualified, talented, motivated, and tax-savvy workforce, lower infrastructure cost. And what is the government inputs in as far as accounting outsourcing is concerned? So we have the Service Export Promotion Council, where our current president's father, past president Sunil Talati, was the president or is the president right now. We've got special economic zone benefits in case you are working out of there. There are trade agreements with different countries. I'm just telling you some things which you may, if you're interested in a specific country, you can look at these. The mutual recognition agreements Institute has done with various, other bodies, and the Digital India initiatives. We will discuss more with the panelists about the opportunities for all of us here in the growing accounting and related outsourcing sector, so that we can, make and grow India as the accounting hub of the world. It already is, but much more larger. So that was the background, and with your permission, I'll get to my seat and start with a Q&A session. I think we are running substantially late, but please pardon me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Before we start with the panel discussion, and I request the chairman of the session to start with the moderation, we would like to take a moment to appreciate the time, dedication, and efforts by our esteemed panelists. So I would request, I think it has been requested to be done. So I request the Central Council member, C.V. Chitle sir, to please come up and present the memento and a token of appreciation, which is small but definitely symbolic of our gratitude to Nilesh S. Vikamsey sir. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Now I request C.A. Dheeraj Khandelwal ji, Central Council member, to please come up and present a memento to C.A. Vaibhav Manek ji. I now request Central Council member C.A. Pramod Jain ji to please come up and give a memento to C.A. Anil Agrawal ji. I request Rajendra Kumar P. sir, the Central Council member from Chennai, to please come up and give a memento to C.A. Karthick Venkatakrishnan sir. So this is going to be a panel discussion. I'll expect the audience. We are jam-packed already. If you don't mind, you can take some stairs somewhere down the line. You won't be able to stand for next half an hour, at least, because the panel discussion would be there for next half an hour. So I think you all will have to be seated somewhere. Sir, over to you, and the dais is all yours.
Thank you. Is my voice audible then?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? Can you increase the... Hello. Yeah, now it's loud and clear. Friends, again, for the sake of people who come in new, Vaibhav is a rare, representative of firm which has got offices in US, Canada, Singapore, and Europe. And we'll start the ball rolling with him, Vaibhav, if you don't mind. The topic of today's discussion is more suited for your role in building your firm as a global firm. Could you elaborate how you set up office in all these countries which I mentioned, with all the regulatory constraints which we have for a practice in the Indian CA firm? How did you get, assuming you are abroad, but what are the first assignments, the type of assignments you got there without any background? The typical question.
Sure. First of all, friends, good evening. And thank you for bearing with us. I know it's been already an hour and plus, but I'll keep it short, but I'll keep it very practical. So I'll go back to our journey in 1999. And I'd like to, give it as a clear example of what we did and how it worked for us. Perhaps we were very lucky back in the day. But, Infosys had just got listed on NASDAQ. I'm talking about early 98, 99. A lot of others wanted to access US capital. We were 4 friends. We all had our CA practices. I was the younger of the lot. 3 of them were elder to me. And we ended up doing our US CPA that year. This was 98. And we came back and said, can we practice this US CPA profession? Can we do US GAAP financial statements? How do you take an Indian company to the US and list and access capital? So US GAAP was a body of knowledge, not very commonly available those days. So we found our moment and we set up a US CPA firm. 2 of my partners actually relocated from India to the US. They, on an L1 visa, immigration, we created a licensed CPA firm in 99. India, we continued our chartered accountancy firm. So we had 2 separate firms because the laws didn't permit us to have cross subsidiary. So we said, let's just keep it simple. 4 partners, 2 were here, 2 were there. And then we realized that it's not just accounting. We need to get into tax. So the natural next thing we realized is corporate tax. Every Indian company, and this I'm talking the pre-Y2K, around Y2K 2000, some of you will relate with me. And I'm just sharing with you exactly what happened. Every Indian company, technology company wanted to set up a subsidiary in the US. We used to conduct seminars where we would get 300, 500 people in 20, 30 cities in India doing business in the US. And that's how we started creating our own legacy in some sense, creating the brand. But the key, the first element of creating an international firm is a single word called product. Do I have a product that resonates with an international audience? An Indian company wanting to set up a subsidiary in any part of the world, not just US. Can I, sitting here with the help of somebody there, can I be a solution provider? We have a lot of corporate secretaries in India, company secretaries have told us 70,000. We do a lot of wonderful stuff, right? But can we, sitting here, set up a company in Ireland, in Geneva, in Switzerland, in US? There are 52 states. Do I understand the laws of the country? So the first step in my mind is product. If I have an understanding of the product, which means I should have knowledge of the, the land, then I can, at least with confidence, talk to a client out here. We realized it early and we said, therefore, we needed a footprint in the US. So we were lucky that 2 of my partners, they actually went on an L1. Those days, green cards used to come in 2 months, in 2 or 3 months or 4 months, once you show that you are there. This I'm talking, now it's not the rule. And they became citizens in 4 or 5 years. We never looked back from accounting to auditing to taxation to corporate finance. We kept adding. And then we realized if US and India is working, why can't we look at other locations? So then UK happened. Over time, we looked at Canada. It was natural extension of US. I'm just trying to give you a geographical footprint. A lot of Indian companies used to go to Netherlands for tax purposes. The India-Netherlands DTA is still the best, one of the better ones when going outbound. So we went to Amsterdam. Then we came to Singapore. And what we realized is we can't do everything ourselves. So first was product, second was license. You got to be licensed in every jurisdiction that you want to set up practice. So some of us took multiple exams. 2 of my colleagues qualified in UK. Then we had another partner in Singapore. We had local partners. And then they started their own firms and we started taking stakes from international. India, you can't do it, but international, you can. We used to write to the institute back in the days to get clarity, but there was no clarity. The rule, we consulted a lot of presidents, everybody, but we said, okay, no problem. Let's just Indian partners be Indian partners. You can't do anything. But can the foreign partners do in a foreign country? Of course. It's NR to NR. So we quickly expanded a footprint simply because our clients were growing everywhere. So if an Indian company was buying a business in Switzerland and then an outbound from there to US, it was automatic structuring for us. Now, Switzerland, we never had a firm, but we said, can I get an associate? Somebody who I can work with. So in Nilesh Bhai's example, we said the best way to get good firms is, can we join an international network? So that happened. In fact, we started Brand Content in India. I don't know if anybody is there in GT in the audience. Back in 2001, we started GT in India. Then we demerged from GT. There were some reasons there. And we then created KNAV International. This was in 2005. And that continues today. So we are now close to about 600 people, 50 partners. But we have stuck to the true vision of helping Indian businesses as they grow overseas. And then, of course, if you're a multinational in whichever country, happy to support you in all the countries that we are. So product, license. And then I think the last thing I would add is, ability to be there. You need to be locally present. You can't service everything offshore. We'll have Anil and Karthik talk about everything they do here. But our model was, can we be on-site? Can we be closer to our customer? And that's where the market then opens up. Because you are able to produce, give solutions which work for the Indian companies as well as for the overseas companies. So let me pause here. And what do you think?
Thanks. Wonderful insight, Vaibhav. I'll come to Anilji now. Again, a lot of people come in. I'll sort of give us slight preview. Anilji has a KPO based out of Jaipur who employs hundreds and hundreds of chartered accountants, MBAs, engineers, and the work. So, Anilji, the question to you is, your journey started with a CA firm setup in Jaipur. Then you gave up your COP and became part of the NAV. Incidentally, they are not related in the sense both the firms. This is KNAV and that is NAV. So it is just on this, I think they're meeting for the first time on this platform. So a lot of, combination. So now you're providing very niche service of hedge fund accounting for more than 22 years. Could you please share with us your journey and challenges you have faced in starting this accounting hub in a niche sector? Again, Vaibhav talked of product. So maybe some clarity of your journey and how does our members here, get inspired from you to start the same.
So first, let me explain what we do. So NAV stands for net asset. I don't know what stands for NAV. So this is what we do. We calculate NAV. So when we started in 2000, this DPO and KPO concept was very early stage in India. And we were not sure that it will be successful or not. Our US partner were already doing this hedge fund accounting in the US. So we thought that let's try in India. But the internet connections were not stable at that time. And there were other challenges. The biggest challenge was that the clients were not comfortable in sending their confidential data to India. So it was difficult to convince them that data will be secured and there will be no risk for your data. So these were the initial challenges, and over the period we were able to solve those challenges and then continue to grow. So we were the first one to started hedge fund accounting in India. But I think when we are talking the global accounting hub, we see that all the big hedge fund administrators in the world, they have the office in India. Their backend is in India already, and a lot of audit firms also have it. So earlier we used to communicate with our client's auditor in US. Now the client is sitting in US. We are doing accounting in India, and we are communicating with their auditors in India. So this is what in the last 22 years it has changed. So we are already in that direction working, but we can grow. India can grow in this accounting hub. Multiply that.
A little bit more how you started off in the sense, how did you get into the hedge fund? Just for the how was that niche which you
that was because of collaboration and
collaboration network. So the importance of collaboration networking comes up here. Yeah. Anything more you want to add, sir? Maybe another round will come. Friends, we have again, for the sake of repetition, for all the people who came in future, again, Karthik is the CEO of Indian operation of a very, very large accounting firm of US. So Karthik, the question to you is, can you elaborate on how this journey of your firm started in India? How and why did they think of setting up operations in India? And what all activities you are doing? What are the challenges which you face? And what you're doing can
our memberships here, the CA firms here do something. May not be maybe the size of your firm, maybe the smaller firms, say, whether it is US. Some story how you started and,
Absolutely. Hopefully I'm audible. This is Karthik here, and good evening to everyone. The way we started, I think, is a slightly very traditional Indian, I would say, marriage perspective. So we had two of our, who actually are co-founders of our firm. And one of the co-founders was getting married in Mumbai in 2005. So he was here along with his partner in charge. The person that I'm alluding to is Mr. Hiren Modi, and his San Francisco partner in charge, Mr. John Williamson. So they both were here. He had gotten his family, and Hiren was getting married here. And they had a deadline on February 20th, which is a popular deadline back in the US. So he was getting married, and he had to get the audit out. So he stayed up all night on his marriage date to make sure that the audit goes out. So he said, you know what, and that's the backdrop. Then the next day, the marriage happens, and he's a chartered accountant, and he's also a CPA. So what kind of people turn out at CA people's wedding? More CAs, right? So when John Williamson saw that, hey, there are so many chartered accountants here, this could, we could really unearth something here as a business model. Because rather than staying up all night and finishing the audit, the thought came is, we are roughly about, depending on whether you have the daylight savings on or off, about 12.5 hours or 13.5 hours ahead of the West Coast in the US, that we have the time advantage here. That somebody could start off the audit, finish the audit, and get it back to the partner when the partner, wakes up and is looking at it. So that kind of sowed the seeds of saying there is some business model that we can build out. This is back in 2005, and 2006, 2007 is when we start off operations here. And Eisner, what we are, and we use a term here, which is, I'm not sure if many of you are familiar, and it's not a wordplay. I'll assure you that as well. We use the term called right shoring within our firm. And what does that really mean? It's not a fancy term or an ordinary term for outsourcing. What we are basically are Eisner India, and we have 3 offices here in India. Whatever the work that we do for our US clients in any of our 25 offices in US, the same caliber and quality of work is what is performed here in any of our India offices. So one of the mantras that we say, you're an audit manager in New York, you're an audit manager in Mumbai, quality of work, the responsibilities that you have is going to be on par. Yes, there are going to be subtle differences because you're not in the same time zone. The client is obviously not in the same location as you are there. So there are certain other kind of small differences, but in terms of caliber, in terms of output, in terms of responsibility that you're going to take, it's going to be on par. So that's how we have always built our practice. So that's been the cornerstone of building our practice. The size and scale has all, kind of grown over the years. But when we started off with 6 folks actually in the assurance side, and we are very, we have all the service lines that you can probably think of, starting the audit practice of it, into the tax practice, into advisory, and also into outsource. So we also have a fund admin practice, so much smaller than NAV, I can tell you that. But we also work with NAV because we are auditors for many of the funds where they are the fund admins. So that's our across all our practice. The thing that we always wanted to do was capability and developing capabilities here. Saying if the person at a very junior level or a director coming in, the capabilities that they're going to have is going to be on par, so that they can cater to clients. And our model is talking, a staff person comes in, we are not a back office operation. They are going to go and talk to the client on day 1. They are going to be marked on emails. People are going to see them. We are going to be visible to everyone. Because we are just, and the way, that's the reason I'm coming back to the story of using right shoring. The reason we had used the right shoring is we are yet another office of Eisner just on the map to the right, or to the shore of, right shore of where the US is, slightly on the map there. So that's the reason we use the word right shoring, because that's who we are. We are another office of Eisner. We are not something that's not a back office or something that's been outsourced to these offices. So we are an integral part of Eisner. And I think coming back to the challenges that we had as we built out, obviously was the fact that and we operate heavily on the financial services, real estate, healthcare, and life sciences are predominant industries that we operate in across all the service lines. What happened? What are the challenges when you get a chartered accountant coming in? Somebody who's never does not know what a broker dealer is, does not know what a hedge fund actually is. How do you train those people? I think that was probably our first, because there are multiple challenges and challenges continue to exist, but every challenge is an opportunity. So, it's turned into an opportunity where we had people coming in who had no background of how financial services in the US work, but they come in, we impart those training and we got them up to the curve where they're able to build a career there. And they have been, a lot of team members here who have been with us 10 plus years because they've gone through a journey when they've come in as a fresh qualified chartered accountant of India and they've joined us and they've grown with us. So that's kind of been the initial challenge that we had. Of course, the scalable aspect of it is there. But I think one thing that we always abide by is the quality of work, and the quality of a work product has to be at that level where it is, beyond instant, beyond. So I will take a pause here.
Thanks, Karthik. I think fantastic. I think a lot of new things, right shoring, quality again, re-emphasis, and not just the back office, front office is as good as the front office. Good. Anilji, now I'll start the second round from you. Typically, we have seen, you have been part of the CA practice and you have started this outsourcing. What are the differences, I would say, whether it's quality, क्या फर्क है मतलब दोनों में अपने, if I say in Hindi, कि मैं खुद की practice चलाता हूँ, and you have been in Jaipur, you know how the other practices are functioning. So what are the differentiators?
There are a lot of differences. First is like entire work is different. Entire work is you have to do remotely, which is at early stage in our traditional practice. Still, if we talk about our traditional practice, we have client-to-client meeting, and then here we never meet our client. Rarely we meet with our client. And everything is done remotely. Not even after the COVID. After COVID, a lot of people started, but we were doing before the COVID. So this is the difference. The other difference is that time zones. Because you have to work in different time zones, so you have to adjust accordingly. And if you have a question, then the right time to ask the client or send email or get the answer next day. Then the quality, you also mentioned, and Karthik mentioned, you have to give your best quality. This cannot be compromised, otherwise you can't survive in the international market. Your quality and turnaround time should be the best. Like we have a lot of SLAs with a lot of clients. At 5 p.m. we have to send the report of the daily NAV. We have to send at 5 p.m. We can't give any excuse that today this happened or this happened. That's why we could not send at 5 p.m. We have to send. So that kind of deadlines and turnaround time should be there. These are the.
What I picked up is no excuses. Thank you. Karthik, the next question to you. As we navigate the evolving landscape of accounting, collaboration and networking seems to be a growing trend. How have you experienced or observed collaborative practices shaping the accounting industry, and what impact do you think this trend will have on the future of accounting services?
Sure, I think collaboration is at the heart of everything that we do, and as an industry, we have to progress. I think that's evident, fairly evident with all of us being here in this room. I think the way we look at it, and I would say kind of two trends that is there. One is from, I would say from an educational or academic institution side of it. I think more and more academic institutions or institutions are promoting learning, education, and kind of pioneers like say ICAI from an India perspective, AIC from the US, being more collaborative in nature and finding opportunities to work with each other, conduct global seminars, webinars were also as well. But of course, the in-person aspect of it is one of the things I think which drives a lot of collaboration, because on webinars, as we always know, I think people start to tune out after a little point in time. So I think seminars always help out in that. But I think that's one aspect, and I will do a little bit of flip on terms of what you had mentioned, Vaibhav. I think is what we do as a collaborative effort as well. We are the 15th largest accounting firm currently in the US, and we have had operations here now for almost 17 years. So there are a lot of other CPA firms and similar to us who want to explore, come to India or explore other markets or other geographies, but really do not know how to get started. India is like a big black hole; they do not know how to start. One of the collaborative aspects that we foster and we work with, and some of these firms are direct competitors to us. Like we have one of the firms which is a direct competitor, which is the 16th largest firm in the US, but we help them set up their business here. So we help them out in saying, okay, we have the experience here, we have the expertise, we have been here, done that. We would help you in terms of how we can collaborate in terms of coming to India, building up a practice here. We support them, we offer them services. When they are starting off small, their requirements are different. As they scale up, and depending on each one's career, each one's growth trajectory. We help them out during. So from a collaboration perspective, it is just not seeing as a competitor saying, hey, it's another firm which is coming to India, but it's an opportunity also to collaborate there. And we also look at ways to see, what else can we do together in developing talent and in developing products that we talked about, right? So we could develop products from India. So those are collaborative aspects, I think, which will continue to, would continue to grow. We have been early adopters of it. We have benefited from it. We have worked with at least, I want to say, top of head, at least 8 to 10 CPA firms that we have helped come here. We have helped an Australian firm as well set up business here. So that's one of the collaborative aspects that I think we need to embrace. That just because somebody is operating in the same space as we are, they're not a direct threat, but there is an opportunity to collaborate with them.
Thanks. Just one suggestion, Karthik. The way you're helping the US firms collaborate in India, there is certainly some size of the firms which may not want to set up offices here. The whole audience is, ready to help them. If they don't want to set up offices, they can service them, including me.
Absolutely, absolutely. The next call that I'm going to get, I know who to call next.
That on the lighter side. Yeah, not a serious note, not on the lighter side. I think you can do marriage on both the sides. One is, look at that. Just think on that. You can sort of work on this. Yeah. Vaibhav, though you elaborated a little bit on the, I would say, how you started on possibly, but maybe over a period of time, if you have Honda, what are the strategies do you recommend for accounting firms looking to expand the global footprint? Of course, you did mention local licenses, being near the clients, etc. But anything else you want to sort of advise our members here? Assuming they're starting now, you started when the US GAAP need was there, but at this point, after so many years, any change in strategies?
So, if I were to start all over again, I would do the same thing all over again. Because I'll tell you, the opportunity is much, much bigger. So, back then and now, so Nilesh, the first point I would say is, one should have a mindset and one should think about a global play. It's all about where to play and how to win. When I say strategy for a professional service firm, it's just these two sentences: where to play, how to win. And we mentioned product, license, market. If you now try to fit it in a grid, look at Dubai market, look at Singapore market, look at, of course, US, UK. Now, each of these markets are growing and they are huge. Indian businesses are doing so well. They wouldn't mind working with an Indian firm which is set up there. The question is, are we willing to go there? So if we were to, let's say, if I were to give a practical advice to firms starting out, or even firms that are doing really well, can we take the plunge, make an investment? Remember, friends, it's a lot of investment of time, personal time, family time. Are you willing to relocate with your family? You need to be, borrowing some words here, right shoring. So for the US customer, for the overseas customer, his right shoring is you also have to be there. You don't have to move there all the time, but till you are set up, you need to be there. Think of a doctor. Would a doctor be able to do a surgery sitting here? You can advise, but you can't actually, operate. You need to be there, at least some portion of it. There are a lot of visiting doctors, consultants, support. Similarly, when it comes to professional advice, be it accounting, tax, valuation, risk advisory, I think somewhere the customer wants to see. In Anil's example, the work is coming here because that is the type of work. But when you're trying to set up, and I can tell you, friends, 15,000 people have got golden visas in UAE in the last 3 years. Each one of them is going to do something there. Our tax rates in India from 42 point something has come to 39 point something. Still, it's very irritating to some people. It may sound a little blasphemy, but people are relocating. Now, they would love to work with Indian tax advisors who understand both sides of the law. You go to, now UAE is at corporate tax level. At some point, we are told in 26, 27, there'll be individual tax. That's a big opportunity. There's a VAT that started. We know of Indian firms who had nothing to do in UAE have gone there and set up very successful VAT practices. So whilst one can think about the larger destinations, here are destinations quite closer. It's just a 3-hour flight. You can be at both places. We know firms, Nilesh bhai, who are going twice a week. One office there, one office here, and handling it really well. Billings have gone up 2x, 3x, 4x. So that's one way to think. The other way to think is, and which I strongly believe is an easier way perhaps, is really first understanding what is international. When we say we want to do international, what are we really meaning? There are 3-4 models. There's an association model where you don't have to give up your independence. You don't have to be part of a forum of firm signed members. You don't have to forget about international statements of auditing, but you just associate with people. Join a good association. There are thousands of associations, at least hundreds. In hundreds, they are active. An international association gives you an international exposure. Travel to the conferences, meet people there, understand the way they're thinking, automatically work will come. They all want to, in terms of right shoring, they want to give good quality work. If you can develop that relationship, they will give you an opportunity. So that's the easier way to perhaps, once you develop that confidence, then you can say, okay, now this particular jurisdiction, be it, maybe it could be even Italy, it could be France. It's all about local speaking language. You can get local partners there and make them your partners and set up a firm. So world is our oyster. It's about our mindset, friends. Believe me, we could have gone to 50 countries. We didn't want to. We joined an association at 6 countries. Our hands are full. Maybe for the next 10 years. We don't have to. We have, by the way, we opened Philippines as an offshoring center. In US, we started with Atlanta. Then we started New York, then California, now Houston. So US is 52 states or 52 countries. We started with 1 state tax return. Now we are licensed in all the 52 states to conduct audit and taxes. It's a very licensed kind of profession. So it takes time to build. It's not going to happen overnight, but the opportunity is huge. So if you take these baby steps, I think there is still, for everybody in the room for next 20, 30 years are ours. There is no better time. Start it today. And one final word on this. Most of us do some advice to international clients, either coming in, somebody wants to set up a shop. Don't stop at that. Make it a point to visit them once in a year. If you make a visit, there's a travel cost associated, the time cost associated. That one satisfied guy will give you 5. That 5 will give you 50. That's how we grew. It's about, being known. So every consulate, by the way, whether it's a New York consulate or the London consulate, will give you an audience. If you write an email that I want to meet the consul general or I want to meet the ambassador, 9 or 10 times you'll get an appointment. Go and meet them, talk to them, do sessions after the budget. India has 1st February's budget. Go and do sessions there through webinar. These are some of the ways your brand is known, and they will start referring work to you. There is no monopoly of any firm. Don't worry about any of the larger firms. Create your own market by innovative ideas. And there are a lot of such ideas that one can kind of practice. But here are some smaller ways to perhaps start, and then one can keep building on that.
I think I just saw the timer. What's the position? Do we need to wrap up? Then I'll wrap up. Friends, believe me, I've got another set of 10 questions, and I'm sure this is not enough. Let me complete. If we want to get the real mileage, I would request Sripriya and the ICAI team there from the organizing side. Let's have a webinar on maybe the same theme.
Yeah, so we'll.
Because my appetite, forget your appetite, my appetite is not satiated.
Within the next 1 week, we'll have this webinar slotted at their convenience.
Sorry?
We'll ensure that
we are completely off time. There are 2 other sessions going on. And honestly, I'm telling you, even I'm not satisfied in the sense we need to take out more from they have got the wealth of experience. All these 3 people sitting here. So, but time is against us and we need to close out with a promise from all the 3 of you. I'll hold a rain check. The office will coordinate the timelines and we can have a webinar for the same audience. Of course, I recognize the presence of Rajkumar ji, again a dynamic central council member from Prakash Sharma ji. Yeah, sorry. Do it, sir.
and we'll do it under the edges of Prakash Bhai's committee. He's got the committee for members.
So I think I would want to conclude just 3 lines from the discussions, what we could have. Time has arrived for India. Time has arrived for India's accounting profession. It's up to us how we consolidate in India and then collaborate and network to make India the accounting hub of the world, make Indian firms grow to be the world's leading firm. It's up to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nilesh Bhai, for this amazing session, which it's a nice problem to have a large crowd and running out of time. So as promised, we'll continue to do this on a web series. But I think finally it all boils down to what one wants to do. So find an idea that resonates with the client. And I think the other challenge is we all tend to value what we have as more important. So, you keep telling yourself, okay, I have to file this return today, tomorrow, and you're very scared to delegate it. So maybe a great start will be to hire 2 extra people and delegate something that you're doing personally. Release 40% of your time and then go to explore something that might work. So I found that it worked for me. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much. This plenary session has been a beacon of collaboration, innovation, and shared wisdom. At the end of this dynamic and insightful panel discussion, I request ladies and gentlemen to please join me to express our deepest gratitude to the distinguished individuals who have graced our stage today by joining your hands together for a huge round of applause. Vikamsey sir, Manek sir, Krishnan sir, Anil Agrawal sir, this would not have been possible and we could not have got so much of appetite on our stomachs with our jam-packed people sitting on the stairs. It's a scene. Had I been a YouTuber, probably I would have taken a selfie with the people around. But this is a one of its kind event. Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure.